See? Look at the bright lighting. This is why I wear sunglasses indoors, okay? Few good reviews, 22. You know what it is, I just talk randomly about albums that I've heard. Some negative reviews coming in this one, so brace yourselves. So Pivot Gang is the hip-hop group that Sabbath is affiliated with, and this is just a pretty decent like collaboration hip-hop album. Some low-key bangers here, some really nice instrumentals. I can't really say many of the members like give off that great of like a style or anything. Like you can tell as soon as Saba comes on, it's Saba because he's such a good rapper, but everyone else kind of fell in the background at times. But there are some really great beats here, there are some really good tracks. But yeah, it's just one of those, like, I guess, like, if you're a fan of the people involved, you're going to check this out, but if you're not, you're probably just going to skip over it. And I could probably say you wouldn't really be missing out on that much if you skipped over this, really. But it's just nice to hear that Saba's having a bit of fun. You know, you can tell that this is just a bit of fun. Like, there wasn't really that much emphasis on like themes or like, you know, all the lyrics or anything like that across this thing. It's just basically all the people here having fun, and I appreciate it. It's pretty good. This Kevin Abstract album, man, for me was really bad. Like, I did not enjoy a single moment on this thing. Once again, for me, the vocal manipulation was really weak. Like, it's just randomly thrown in every so often with no thought behind it. He just manipulates his voice to add emotion, I guess, and it doesn't do anything except sound really ugly. And the mixing across this album I thought was really bad as well, especially on the first track. It sounded really bad. On Use Me as well, that was a really poorly mixed song. The rapping is subpar at best. The topics he's talking about are just the usual topics he's talked about on previous Brockhampton projects. You're not getting anything here that you didn't get on the Saturation Trilogy or Iridescence. Like, why would you choose this over those? I don't know, but whatever. I'm just in awe, to be honest. Like, the singing as well, it's the production is dead. The track-to-track flow, there isn't even a track-to-track flow on this thing. I'm just impressed at how poor this sounded. Like, this is such a regression from the Brockhampton sound. Fair enough, Kevin Abstract has his own solo career vision. Of course, you know, he was already a solo artist anyway on American Boyfriend. Why would he not continue that? He would. It's totally fine that he would want to continue that, but I just feel like this had no qualities to it whatsoever that I would ever think of returning to. Like, the Bareface randomly appears. He just sounds out of place, honestly. The beats on this thing were either just like generic southern trap sounds, or southern rap sounds, or just like nothing. Like, honestly, I could barely pick apart any beats on here. This was really bad. I really liked Lydia Ainsworth's last album from 2017. Thought it was a really cool art pop electronic fusion that I really dug. Thought it was very overlooked, but this new album is nothing really on that level for me. It's okay. It kind of reminds me of her debut, the Right From Real album, where it just wasn't really doing much to click with me. Whereas her second album, Darling of the Afterglow, just like got it. I think it just nailed its ideas, I think. But this one was just fine. It was decent. Didn't really evoke anything out of me. Not really getting much from this Jamila Woods album. I think she kind of sounds like everyone else in this field at the moment. This like very modern R&B type sound. I've definitely heard it worse, but I've definitely heard it better elsewhere. And she has a nice voice and she brings out some good melodies at times, but it just doesn't really do much to carry every track. And there's not really a distinct sound from each song either. Like, many songs run into each other. She's singing about pretty standard topics and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame, because I will say that the final track that was like a club remix of the first song on the album is is a banger, man. She needs to get on this production like all the time. This needs to be her sound, because this is some like Azealia Banks type stuff when Azealia Banks is at her best. So I really like that track. So yeah, we'd like to see more of that. But other than that, meh. Pile have a new album and it's whatever. It's fine. It's just typical post-hardcore music that you've certainly heard 100 times before, and it sounds okay for what it is, but it just does nothing for me, gets nothing out of me. I just think I've heard a bit too much of this music in this style, and that's not really Pile's fault because they're doing it to a competent level. So I'd say check it out if you like the sound, but yeah, I'm not really feeling it. This AJR album was a disappointment. It was disappointing, and not for the reasons you expect. I'll tell you why. Because the click was terrible, but it got me laughing, man. That album is hilarious. I get so much entertainment value out of listening to that guy's lyrics. I genuinely think they are a comedy group. Like, they can't possibly be serious with the friggin' lyrics they come out with on that album. But this wasn't funny. I just want a good laugh out of listening to AJR, and I didn't laugh once. This was just bad. This was really bad. Like, the music, once again, they randomly broke out into like these explosive instrumentals that came out of nowhere for no reason. They did this on the click as well, which was also hilarious. But this time around, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's the same thing again that it just wasn't as funny. But yeah, this there wasn't really anything bad about this one. There was just mostly lyrics about dealing with childhood. It was just written in a really boring way, you know, how he's like has to grow up and understand himself and deal with life and stuff like that. But aside from the Beats by Dre song, there wasn't really anything remotely funny, honestly, and even that wasn't that funny. This is somehow one of the biggest disappointments of the year. An AJR album let me down. How? What the hell is there to say about this Catfish and the Bottlemen album, man? Like, holy shit. This has come out in a really busy week as well. Like, there's so much music that's come out on this week, as of recording right now, the 26th of April, a week of music. Like, I couldn't imagine focusing a full review on this when there's so much else out there that's probably more interesting to talk about than this really generic, stale leather jacket rock. Like, seriously, this band has done the same thing on every album so far. I just don't understand how people could like stand this or like, you know, adore this. It's just really run-of-the-mill rock music that you could absolutely find better anywhere else, you know. Like, what's this doing? I just don't get it, man. This is crazy. Catfish and the Bottlemen are one of the biggest bands in the UK, and someone's gonna have to explain it, because, you know, at least in 1975, as much as I do have my major issues with them, I can at least appreciate they're not just doing the same thing every time. Like, they're at least changing things up on track to track as well. That last album was like diverse as fuck, but Catfish just do the same thing every song. They're like the AC/DC of the 2010s. It's fucking... Wow. While Hang was so lavish with its instrumentation and the production was so pristine and glorious, it was heavenly to listen to at times for me personally. This new one is a bit of a sloppy to be honest. Like, it's just not got that production style that really sucked me in, and it really falls flat a lot of the time. It actually sounds more like an homage than Hang did, and Hang was an absolute homage to a time period in music which they absolutely nailed, and here it sounds really dull, to be honest. A lot of these lyrics are very lame as well. It's just a tepid album. I don't know, Foxygen just hit it out of the park, and then the next album they put out is meh or even bad, and then they hit it out of the park, and then they're just going through this cycle. Maybe their next one's going to be really good, because that's the cycle they're currently going through right now. But yeah, this was just not particularly very interesting to me. So I think I'm definitely bigger on Old Droog's last album than most people were, but This new one's just like whatever. I don't know. There's not a distinct sound on this album that makes him stand out from any old rapper out there. Really, the songs just aren't really there. The rapping's solid. He's a good rapper. He's always rapping well. I think lyrically, his last album really did impress me quite a bit, especially with some of the like the themes and the song topics that he was going for. I really quite liked how cartoonish it was at times as well. But this one's just really dull. I don't know, maybe Old Droog's just not really doing it for me anymore, because I don't really love PAX as much as I did when it first came out, to be honest. But this just is even worse than that, I'd say, and it just doesn't do anything at all. It's really standard hip hop with, you know, kind of like that 90s throwback appeal. It's whatever. Some very lovely singer-songwriter music from Aldous Harding here. She hails from New Zealand, and this is a very minimalist album. So minimalist at times that I do just want a bit more at the instrumentals. Because when there are like livelier instrumentals, you get the best tracks, like the title track, Designer, definitely the best track here. The first track as well, very good song, but just at times there's so little going on, and Aldous just isn't bringing enough to keep my attention the whole way. That's kind of the slight issue with this album. Lyrically, there's not a great deal going on here that makes me kind of get, ooh, oh wow, but it's definitely solid enough, and yeah, I'd say check this out. This is a good album. So you may know Slauson Malone, or Slauson Malone, or Slao Malone, from Standing on the Corner, an experimental hip-hop group, and this album here is very difficult to get into. I think I've really struggled with this. I really appreciate everything that's going on. I think there's not really much out there that sounds like this, actually, and I think a lot of people will end up loving this throughout the year, but it's probably not going to catch on to that many people. But I think the people that will hear it will adore this. But for me, I don't know what it was. I just couldn't really grasp anything. It was very abstract. I appreciated everything that he was going for here, but it just didn't click with me, you know. Like, there's no real structure. It's very loose. I feel as though every track is too loose to grab hold of. I do really appreciate it, but yeah, I keep saying that, but I just can't get into it. But again, I really recommend this because I think people will adore this. Yeah, just wasn't. No, I can't get my head around it. Can't get my head around it. Maybe in about 6 months I'll go back to this before the year's over and see what happens. But for now, it really just wasn't clicking. And thank you for watching a few good reviews. I hope you got something out of this video, and hope you enjoyed listening to my opinions. And if you have opinions on what I said or the albums I listened to, then let me know in the comments, and I will be quick to respond, I'm sure. Thank you for watching, as always. Have a good day, and goodbye.